Hi everyone, welcome back to Disco Elysium. So, I'm my partner, my former partner, he's not the only one who can wear a disguise, right? I'm not going to let him one-up me. We've got to have the disguise as well, right? We're not going to let him have the last say here.
Again? I
To be
can't
fair.
believe this shit.
To be fair, that wig is spectacular. I don't own a wig like that. With a head like this, I'd forgive you for thinking that I do own a wig like that, but I don't. But it just means I'm not quite in costume for this episode, unfortunately. See you around, partner. So we're here in the Whirling in Rags. Last time we did a few more things at night, nothing really significant. In the last episode, obviously talking to Joyce about the pail was one of the most significant things that we've seen so far. But yeah, we had another nightmare. Some interesting kind of parallels to what Joyce was saying about the pail in our nightmare. And then we came down here and we spoke to these two who we spoke to on the radio previously. We've got Judith and our former partner here who's in disguise. They're a bit angry with us. I'm not sure if he's really that mad with us. I definitely sense a touch of jealousy with him. Like when we were kind of partners consistently, that maybe he felt a bit overshadowed by us. I definitely get that sense in some way. That although we're an incompetent mess, he is somehow a little bit jealous of us. And that he maybe was obviously the more professional, but probably wasn't as insightful as we are, if that makes sense. But we've got a lot of people here that we need to talk to before we leave. We need to talk to the union workers. I don't know if we should talk to them now. I don't really know if we've got any hard evidence to tie them to the murder just yet. We can obviously, because it's Wednesday, cross to the other side where the church is, where we've been looking across. We do have a check that we can do here for the handsome fellow. And we can talk to Lena as well, which I'll probably do first.
Oh, hello, dear. There
Oh.
you are again.
She sounds glad to see you. That's all for now. There's no new dialogue there, is there? So, okay. Let me just remind myself what this check was. Alright, it's composure. What was the percentage that we had on it? It wasn't that low, was it? Yeah, it was like in the 70s.
Bye-bye, gendarme.
So I have a choice to make because we've got 2 skill points. More composure isn't a bad thing. It's just I'm not sure it's something we use too much. But I suppose it could be useful in this. I think talking to these union guys, I think what will probably be useful might be a bit of authority, which we're very low on at the minute. Possibly esprit de corps. Empathy, I'm not sure. Maybe a bit of drama for lying. Maybe some physical stuff, because if they're quite simple in terms of who they fear, maybe we might need to be physically imposing, which without authority might be a bit troubling. So composure might be useful here. It might be worth sticking a point in there. In terms, we've not really put points into much. We've put a lot into thoughts, right? Yeah. So I'd rather be putting points into savoir-faire and empathy and drama and suggestion too, but I don't know how long this guy's going to be here, so I think it's worth doing this, even though it's probably something quite light-hearted or romantic. Let's try again, buddy.
Gendarme.
Oh, it was only a 42, wasn't it? Come on, guys. I've had pretty rotten luck with these. In general, right? I don't know if there's like a count on how many I've missed and how many I've hit, and what like the combined likelihood is. But come on, 58.
Could he be a member of the homosexual underground?
Oh, I mean, we knew this already. Are you a part of the homosexual underground? Why on earth would you say this to someone, but why
The
not?
homosexual underground?
This is one of those video game things, isn't it, where you know that the other response is just you're not going to get anything from it. You're just going to leave. The smoker sits up immediately, his eyes wide with amused surprise. A honeyed smile lingers on his lips.
Why, yes, I am, officer. Why? Do you want to investigate?
Oh, this is so awkward. Yes, I want to hear more about this homosexual underground you're a part of. No, I just wanted to know if you were one of them. That sounds a bit xenophobic. Yeah, let's hear some more.
Oh, it's a pleasure group. A sub rosa pleasure group congregating in cellars under the cover of night. Saturday night. Sometimes even Friday night.
Let's not ask this second one. What about Thursday?
Or Thursday night. Sometimes the congregating doesn't even end. It carries on into our daily life.
He lowers his voice conspiratorially, and looks around. What? We know what they do. Well, I don't know. They might not be doing that. That might be a lurid thought, but that is what they do. Why do you convene? What do you do?
Oh, we're ambitious. We want to destroy the last vestiges of meaning, the last things people in Revachol have to hold on to, the true symbols of security, the meaning of man and woman, mother and father, their marriage. Everything will be constantly shifting and moving under our rule. The future will belong to a circus of identities just spinning around, surreal and unreal. You won't even know who you are anymore.
Okay, maybe it is a political society. Pleasure group. Maybe I've misinterpreted this. Is it a disc? Is it? Does it have anything to do with disco?
Yes, we listen to a lot of disco. Some say we engineered disco to spread our vision of a vertiginous, ever-changing society.
Okay.
Where all there is a razzle-dazzle of gold. We are going to change the family unit with all this razzmatazz and finger dancing. And with mysteries. Of course, the mysteries are also of sexual nature. Very esoteric.
I do like disco.
You can't just get into it. You have to be born into it. One is either already in the homosexual movement or forever excluded from it.
Really? People can change, right? What if I can't remember whether I'm in or not? What if I can't remember anything about my life aside from the fact that I like disco?
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's exactly what we're looking for. Who knows? Maybe you were homosexual in the past.
Maybe.
Maybe all of that has been repressed.
He circles his hands around you. The smoker crawls up to you like an animal preparing to jump.
I have to say that you do look like someone who might be part of the underground. You have that very distinctive, I can't understand what's going on here look.
Okay, blink. Okay, I have to think about it. This is going to be like a 20-hour mind project for me. 20 hours at least. Okay, I have to think about it.
Do think about it, officer.
He starts laughing and leans back against the counter. This is going to be like a 20-hour mind project for me. 20 hours at least.
Absolutely wonderful.
See you later, buddy.
Bye-bye, gendarme.
Okay. Homosexual underground. You see mysterious strangers in the night leaning against unlit doorways, engaged in hushed conversation. A shadowy cabal exchanging looks, whispering in dark alleys and unmarked locales. A radical cell conspiring against the state and perhaps even against man and woman. Was that a secret handshake? What's going on? Who are these secretive people? How will they accomplish their sinister and world-altering goals? And most importantly, are you one of them? You could be. Maybe you forgot. Okay, we'll check this out once. I've only got 1 point. I need to save 1 point for any possible checks that we have coming up. Okay. Fascinating. Right. The way he said it was the way he said it all about that whole meeting group made it sound so much more political than was being alluded to. previously. Okay, I feel like this is going to be quite an important conversation with the guy whose name I can't even remember now. What does it say in here? Interrogate the vigilantes, the Hardy Boys. Yeah, you need to interrogate the men in the Union booth. Find out what they know about the hanging in Martinez. Return to the Hardy Boys with more evidence. Try talking to their boss or examining either the tracks on the crime scene or the belt around the victim's neck. The tracks at the crime scene, right? We did need to check that out again, right? Right, so we'll just do that quickly because I think there might have been another check there. Was it would it have been a perception check? I'm not sure. Maybe an interfacing check or an encyclopedia. It's something we weren't doing too well for, I seem to remember. This is a...
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic.
Visual calculus. Sorry. We do have some gear for that now, right? Let's check the map out, because the map should tell us. That's medium. And our visual calculus is only on a 2, correct? Yeah. But we do have some gear. Was it the glasses? Yeah, that boost our visual calc. Any other visual calculus? I don't think there was. No. Let's just check the other tracks out quickly, because I feel like there was a check for these as well.
There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here.
Oh, this is visual calculus as well. Perfect. That settles it, right? We're quite far away from another level up. What are we losing on these? Logic. Right, let's check this.
There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here.
Right, these are the two things we desperately need to do. If we fail one of these checks, I'm going to flip my shit.
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza.
58. Right, that settles that. We need to do this one first because it's a higher percentage. If we fail one of these, we need to go and level up somewhere. I'm going to go talk to Sealeng as well, see if we can pick up some more gear.
There are several footprints in the mud.
There's no need for me to save my game because I'm not going to reload, obviously, am I? Because that was the first thought that I had then. Save it. Right, I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Decaf. 72. We've missed these a lot. Hit me.
8 pairs of boots have shuffled back and forth in the mud. Where else have we seen a gang of men in work boots? That's right. The Hardy Boys in the mess hall of whirling in rags.
Nice. Oh. Tell why I used to have a gambling problem. Right. No, I didn't really. I didn't really.
1. Standard work boot. Steel reinforced toes. Number 46. Just like Titus was wearing in his booth. This is the big dick, Titus Hardy, the one with the bald cap on his head.
Okay. Interesting.
They didn't even bother to change boots. Putting them on the scene is easy, maybe even too easy.
Yeah, I mean, those boots are probably pretty common, right? Let's carry on counting.
2. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. Either the blonde muscular guy, Glenn, or the young guy with a plectrum around his neck.
Number 44, okay.
3. Hobnailed work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 43. The inked banger, perhaps.
Are these shoe sizes? Number 43, these sound like European shoe sizes to me, right?
4. Standard work boot, number 45 or 46. Theo, the old smoker. You think you even see a tiny fleck of cigarette ash inside the print.
Because a lot of people speak in a French accent. This has nothing to do with anything, but you'd pronounce this as Teo in a French accent, I think. Cigarette ash, okay.
5. Another standard work boot, reinforced toes, number 44. Same as before. Either the musician, Eugene, or the muscle-bound blonde, Glenn. 6. Light as air. Same make of boot, but number 41. Small like a rat, shanky.
Should have gotten this earlier.
Better late than never, detective. The whole world is dark and the tracks burn in it with strange beauty. 7. The glowing outline of a standard work boot, number 46. The imprints are twice as deep as the others. The weight exceeds 200 kilograms. Fat Angus.
Yeah.
Carrying something?
Yeah, carrying the body.
8. Another standard work boot, number 44. There's an aberration in the pattern of the sole. The right sole is smoother, more worn. Curious. A missing 8th Hardy Boy.
7 sets of tracks, right? The Hardy Boys were here.
The lieutenant has been tracking your eyes movements. 8 actually, Kimmy. Keep up.
That's all? Interesting. Then one of them seems to be missing. Anything else out of the ordinary?
Note to self. This would be a good question to ask Titus. Where's the 8th man?
Number 41 shoe. Light step.
I'm guessing that's the skinny Hardy Boy. The one with his front teeth missing.
Who did we say it was? You mean the rat-faced one?
Yes, well, he did look a bit like a rat. You're right. Do you think those prints belong to him?
Mm-hmm.
I could still be wrong, but I'm probably not.
Yeah, I did the work here, Kimmy. Stop taking credit, right? A heavy one, 200 kg imprint, probably carrying the body.
200? This could be the combined weight of 2 people, one carrying the other who's tied up. Let's say a heavily built worker carrying a similarly built armored man. Maybe it was a fat Hardy Boy, the one sitting in the middle.
Yep.
He might be right. 200 kilograms of living weight is unlikely.
Maybe it was a giant. Maybe it could have been one extremely obese person. That could mean it was Everett Clare, because he's bloody massive, right? But 200 kilograms, I don't know about that. I mean, how much would that be? It's weird when you're trying to work this stuff out when you're from England, because we have we're like, at least like in Europe you have the full metric system. In the United States you have like the backwards thing, backwards way, but here it's like a weird mix of both, where you still kind of talk in miles, but you use millimeters and centimeters, and you talk about weight in stone and pounds, but in different parts of the country it's more common to use kilograms and grams. Or if I was talking about a person's weight, I'd use stone and pounds, but if I was cooking and I was weighing things, I'd use grams and kilograms. It's so annoying. Right. So I'm just trying to think. 200 kilograms is a lot. I weigh like 70 kg, I think. Roughly, it fluctuates, right? I weigh about 70, so 2 of me would be 140. 3 of me would be 210 kilograms. I mean, I'm not that big though. Tall even. So 2 100 kilo, or like 110 kilo and 190 kilo, because the hanged man was a big dude, right? Military guy, built. So how much would that be in pounds? I can't picture how big someone 200 kilograms would be. If 70 kilograms is like 11 stone, that would be like 30, yeah, 30 stones. Ridiculous. Yeah, it was probably carrying the victim.
Possibly, yes.
The lieutenant marked something down in his notebook. An aberration, one soul is smoother than the other.
Interesting. Let's name it the Old Soul.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was the missing Hardy boy. Wonder who he is.
Oh, this one's easy. Way too easy. It's a driver.
Oh, right, yeah. A driver would wear down their right shoe before the left. The accelerator's on the right. And remember that abandoned lorry cabin we found?
With a piece of sandpaper glued to the throttle.
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses as his eyes light up with excitement. So if we hadn't done that first, we probably wouldn't pick that up.
Which means that the missing lady driver was also present at the lynching? That's it. She's the Old Soul.
So is she the one that they're saying he sexually assaulted? That might be a convenient excuse. You know, because they wanted to hang him anyway, maybe. I don't know. She's also the one running the drug trade. Interesting. First the drug smuggling, now this. How deep does this rabbit hole go? Women, shake your head always. First the drug smuggling, now this. How deep does this rabbit hole go?
Now we know who's the missing 8th person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation?
I think the entire union is involved, maybe all of Martinez. Look around suspiciously. Those jerks, definitely. Not necessarily. The lady driver could have kept the drug trade a secret. This would fit what Joyce told us, but I don't want to make any assumptions. Yeah, this would fit what Joyce told us, but let's not make any assumptions.
Understood. We should still go and see what Titus Hardy has got to say on the matter. This might throw them off, work in our advantage.
He writes something.
So what else?
He writes something down into his little notebook. How old do you think these tracks are?
A week, maybe? 7 days would fit the time frame provided to us by the caller, who reported the hanging.
It is not impossible.
How do you know?
I pulled last week's forecast for coastal Revachol. 7 days below freezing. The day before, the day of his hanging, was the last warm day.
Right, preserved.
Correct again. Sub-zero temperatures would preserve the tracks in a good state. The commotion here could have taken place a week ago.
What do you think happened?
What do I think? A mob of people brought something heavy to the tree. One of them was carrying the victim. They shuffled around, especially under the tree. Then, after hoisting him up, they stood in a semicircle facing his direction. At first glance, this appears to be a lynching.
Indeed. They all stood in a row here and looked at the tree.
So far, so good. Only one thing missing.
He looks up at the tracks, face lighting up from the realization.
Of course, there were 8 tracks, but there are only 7 Hardy boys.
No, you don't get to have your moment, Kimmy. I know, 8 tracks, 7 Hardy boys.
Which one is missing, do you think?
He
I'm going
quickly
to say it was our Old Soul.
He quickly adds, so the odd soul was present at the lynching but isn't in the mess hall right now.
Yes. I doubt the Hardys are going to tell us much, but we should still confront them about the possible drug trade connection.
Right, we've been through all of it. Alright, so, interesting, we really should have prioritised doing that before we did the autopsy. Stupid. But I felt a bit of a time pressure to do the autopsy, so... Right, I'm not going to try this just yet. First thing, I'd like to go and find a way to talk to Clashy, but what I'm going to do, let's just read this first. Yeah, confront the Hardy boys about the drug trade. The person present at the lynching was also involved with the drug trade through the harbour, which links them to the Hardy boys. See what Titus has to say about it. Right, so we've got that bit of information, but we need to examine these tracks. So what I'm going to do, we have that little side quest for Everett Clare, so I'm just going to go and speak to Manana, right? We're not going to confront him yet, because we need to get the keys, was it, from him?
So, how'd you like our harbor?
It's a Labour utopia.
It's but a rest area on the path leading across open plains.
He notes solemnly, then turns to you, a wide smile adorning his face.
Right. You talk to the boss, eye to eye,
Yeah.
like men of the plane. If you have any more questions, I'm set to talk.
Alright. I'm a bit short of money. Any idea who killed the hangman? Everett said you have a key to a door.
A key, huh? What door is this key supposed to open?
He runs his fingers through his mustache. Don't play dumb with me, buddy. He said it belonged to a weasel. I was hoping you could tell me. I don't know, some whistleblowers, I think. He said it belonged to a weasel.
Oh, say no more. I got you.
He taps the side of his nose with a little wink.
I got that key right here. And let me tell you, it's mighty good of you to help us out during the strike. Working class solidarity, as they say.
I saw an opportunity and I took it. I'm a hustle grinder. I heard something about a weasel and it didn't sound like a local polar weasel, if you know what I mean. I'm not opening this door for myself. I'm opening it for all working men. I'm not really doing this for political reasons, buddy.
Oh, so the none of the above type are you? I get it. I like to keep my distance too. But it doesn't matter. It's a good thing you're doing.
Yeah, be
But
quiet.
what you're looking for is a basement door behind the greenhouse.
Yeah, I've been
That's
there.
behind the wailing in rags. That's all I know. Our organization is what you call compartmentalized. Means we keep out of each other's business.
I'm obviously
Okay, where did you get the key from?
I'm realizing now I shouldn't have put that point into visual calculus. I should have tried both skill checks first and then put it in, but
The janitor gave it to me. Nice fella. We talked about life and things that really, truly matter.
oh no, I shouldn't. They were already blocked. I had to put the point in, sorry. His gaze wanders off into the distance. A janitor.
None of this mess we're in. This jiving and juggling. What's it for? To feed our children, I guess.
Anything else I should know about the task, this weasel person, when he'll be home?
I'm more of a philosophical dock worker. I like to talk about the big picture stuff. Who I am, who you are, what we are fighting for.
The man takes a big sip from his flask.
Who he is and what they're fighting for? This is interesting.
Actually, do you know anything about the Hardy Boys?
Los Ardis? They're an independent militant group. A bit too high-strung, but it comes with the responsibility. They're sort of like you. Preserve the rule of law and all that. Except it's Everard's law. But really, they're just like you.
He takes a swig from his flask. They're like me. God. Why are you striking?
We're negotiating our share.
Your share?
Aye.
He seems pleased with himself. Wait, so not wages or pensions or how large a share would you like? Oh, okay, economy stuff, I get it. Yeah. So you don't want anything actually practical, right? You don't want an increase in wages, better safety, pensions, workers' rights. You just want a share of the bigger picture that's all going to go to Everard anyway.
This stuff, they already covered.
Shouldn't you be grateful then? It's a lot more than most people here have. At least you got the benefits, that's something. However much you feed the wolf.
The wolf always wants more. I like wolves.
How large a share would you like?
All of it. However, right now we want all the harbor workers to be on the company's board, so they could take part in the decision-making process.
This isn't saying that he's a communist, it's saying that he's incredibly naive and... Yeah.
No. I don't think I'm a communist. Seeing something of value and saying I want it all to myself is a much older and simpler notion. No science to it at all. Even a weak child can think it. The only things holding someone back are I can't and I shouldn't.
I don't really want to agree with him. You shouldn't take what's not yours.
Then how can anything ever be mine? But that's okay. We don't have to agree. The prairie is wide enough for all of us.
How can anything be yours? By creating something, I guess. But at the same time, the system's keeping them down. Blah blah blah. Yeah. What can you tell me about Everett?
I think it's best you make up your own mind now that you've met him. In my eyes, he is a capable organizer and a decent businessman.
What does bossing the union entail anyway?
I guess you kind of get to be the village chief. He oversees the harbor, makes deals with the owners or other relevant parties, watches out for his own.
By that, you mean corruption?
Mm-hmm.
By heavens, why would it not be corrupt? We live in a harsh and disordered world, see? And in this world,
It's just a necessity, I guess.
the old man is corrupt for our benefit, and we know it. Appreciate it even. He is, personally, not too lavish.
This is just like such a representation of the reality of communism, right? Like everyone's in it together, except there's one like evil dictator who's negotiating everything, who actually is richer than everyone else, and it's actually not communism, it's a dictatorship. Not too lavish. It's a pretty big. It seemed like a pretty big desk to me, buddy.
He is reasonably lavish, sure. That's his prerogative. It's not like you want a saintly demeanor on a corrupt motherfucker. That would be a manipulative illusion. Besides, there are no non-corrupt systems in the world anyway, and moralism is the most corrupt of them all.
I don't agree with you, buddy, but their idea of moralism is that bureaucrat dickhead, so fair enough. You seem to have spent a lot of time thinking about the situation, the political situation.
Sure, I've had the necessary free time. Fortunately, there's always time.
He spreads his arms wide, using the reach to show how much time he has.
The look in his brown eyes conjures up an understanding. For him, having command of his time is the most important thing. It all comes together now. The way he speaks about scabs, his general attitude. He's a follower of a 500-year-old Franco-Nigerian Boyadero code, itself an appropriation of Vespertine cool. That of a noble peasant or a traveling herdsman. True to yourself, independent in your actions, loyal to your friends.
Maybe I am a Boadero. It doesn't sound that cool. Sounds antiquated, obsolete, passé. It's not disco. Yeah, doesn't sound disco to me.
The man sits on the railing, his hands reaching far and wide, yet it feels as if he could effortlessly go even wider, if need be, an endless torrent of time.
Any idea who killed the hangman?
The mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed the question. Why even do such a thing?
He shakes his head solemnly. The harbour is a prime area of suspicion. In your opinion, are the dock workers involved?
What a thought. Why would noble workers resort to such a thing? Unless they were pushed, of course.
How?
Your dead guy was an enemy combatant.
So you killed him?
I ain't the murdering type, but that's just me. Large organizations like our union have all sorts of men, with all sorts of skills.
Yeah, I get it.
Understood. This has been of limited use.
Yeah.
Still, thank you.
No problem. I wish the best to you in your search. Sure, I'm glad it's not my search.
I mean, there's one attitude to have towards political systems. I don't know if you'd necessarily call it nihilism or just pure skepticism, but the idea that all hierarchical structures stem from human nature, and that whatever structure you put around them, whatever nonsense you build up the system with, ultimately it gets divided into, you know, extreme success, a middle, and extreme failure, or, you know, poverty, the lower class, the middle class, and the upper class. It'll get separated like that in some way, regardless of political system. There'll always be people who are more successful, and there'll always be people who fail more. And there will be some of that is to do with unfair things in the system, but some of that is just because they're inevitabilities, right? So whatever system you have, you're still going to have the haves and the have-nots. You're still going to have people who forge out too much, an unfair amount for themselves, and then there'll be some people who don't have anything for themselves and multiple people around them. And whatever system you put that in, that kind of hierarchy will end up emerging. So it's almost like the political discourse is kind of futile because it'll just everything will end up that way anyway. So we've got the key for the Weasel apartment, but we need to talk to the lady here about the pail, because the pail
is still hunched over the railing.
Yeah.
Her head swaying to the music. Her eyes looking at nothing in particular.
We need to talk to her about the pail, because the pail's probably the most interesting thing we've heard about in the last few hours, right? Hello again.
Huh? What is it? What do you want?
I think I've got an idea what's going on with you. She's called the Pail Driver after all.
And what is that?
She sticks a filterless cigarette into a cigarette holder and reaches for the light. A filterless cigarette. That just reminded me of a funny story. Maybe I'll tell you guys later. Right. You're a pail driver. You transport goods through the pail.
Great. He asked the Pines rep about the pail, and now he's talking to everyone about it.
Hey, shut up, Kimmy. You weren't there. It was an out-of-body experience.
Fine then. Just try not to black out again, and don't contemplate. We don't have time for that.
God, leave it out, Kim. For God's sake. We're talking about some sort of meaningful kind of existentialism here, and you're... Oh, I'm contemplating, Kim. I'm drawing existential conclusions from this. Yeah, no, just for detective work. That's all I needed it for now. Everything's related to the pail. My condition, the case, everything. It's all entropinetic. Yeah, everything's related to the pail.
That is exactly what I didn't want you to think. Ma'am, my partner wanted to know if you work in pail transport.
Kim, I'll ask these questions. Can you just, like, go have your daily smoke somewhere and we'll talk about the pail?
No offense. But your partner?
She lights a cigarette. A white and silver cloud of smoke disappears into her mouth.
Seems like a bit of an idiot.
Wait. Me? Oh. I blacked out after a night of heavy drinking and lost all memory of the world. I blacked out from sheer heartbreak and lost all memory of the world. I'm not an idiot. I'm a detective of the RCM. I blacked out from sheer heartbreak.
Like Gabriel Buenguerro in Segúreme, Paraíso. You're the opposite of me, then. I remember everything, even the things I never knew.
She nods and smiles unkindly. Things you never knew?
The smell of liquor on Gabriel's lips after the shoot. In the motor park. The roses on the day of Franco Negro's coronation. On the grand stairs of Ryle. The smoke from the Fowling piece when Dolores Day was shot. The look on her face, like an orgasm. The wound in her chest. My hand in my father's hand. Except I never had a father, and I never shot her innocent Dolores Day.
Over radiation.
Heroic doses, Hervé. Heroic.
And you don't think it's dangerous?
Thought insertion? Dithering? The Grad Catalan Magistral? It's more than dangerous. It's sad. But at first I had to make a living. Now, when you've seen it all go away like that, rolling off like the sea, and then come back to this...
She gestures at the square, the broken horse monument, the clanging of machines in the distance.
What are we doing here? For thousands of years, Gabriel. It doesn't have to be like this. We can just give up. We can just become a vapor.
What does it look like, the pail?
Like looking into the ocean at night, in the dark.
And...
You cannot see it, but you know it's there. And it's big, bigger than anything. Bigger than all the other things combined.
what does it feel like?
Nothing. Until it starts. When you are deep enough. Then, for me, it's like autumn. Dark, grey and orange. The orange of street lights and the color of streets and electric light. It smells like autumn too. It smells terrible.
Nostalgia. Cooped up in the cabin, shaking. Terrible nostalgia. For yourself. For humans. It's too much to bear.
Who doesn't like?
She loves it.
Who doesn't like a feeling of nostalgia, right? There's always a tinge of sadness to nostalgia, right? Because you're not there anymore, you know? It's like a longing sensation. So how do you pass through?
In the belly of an airship, behind the stair windows. So you don't look straight into it. It's not advised to look into it.
You don't go through on this lorry.
No, the same one, a roller. They all are nowadays. Special wheels for connecting to the floor of the hold.
She points to the machines clumped up like toys.
The wheels all small and round, multi-axle trailers.
One last thing, you said we can just become vapor.
Yes.
I would rather have what I have than what you have. I would rather have what you have than what I have. I feel I already have what you have in some way. Yeah, I kind of feel this because we have some real hidden things in our past, right? And let's just posit a theory here. I mean, maybe those things didn't really happen to us. Maybe we're experiencing a similar sensation to the Pale Driver. Maybe these aren't our memories. Maybe they're the memories of someone else, someone else's love story, someone else's broken heart. I feel I already have what you have in some way.
They say there is a point. One that I have not crossed. In the Pale, super deep. If you stray too far, of course, on the U41A, or in Lomonosov's land, where every step you take is one step further from home, no matter the direction. It's a point you cannot come back from. Your mind becomes so radiant with the past, there is a flip. Instead of writing, it erases memory, nearing some kind of indescribable finale. Maybe you've been down the motorway south?
She looks at her cigarette. It's almost out. She swallowed it hungrily, then at you. The motorway south?
It's a story as lone horsemen tell. Lone horsemen, Jerife, not Pale drivers. Way beyond the established Pale that's lit by radio frequencies, where it goes silent and dark, and the process begins. Erasure, kilometer by kilometer, in any direction. The motorway south is a road you cannot come back from.
And what is at the end of the motorway south?
No one knows what's at the end. I've only glimpsed the beginning.
She takes the cigarette out of the cigarette holder and extinguishes it.
I've only felt it in the distance, when I was a child. A child growing on the leg.
She goes silent, her eyes close and her hands shake. Ma'am?
Josiane.
A sigh escapes her lips, then silence as she stares within herself.
There is nothing more to do now. She's far away.
You've fried both your brains enough for today, detective.
Oh, you're really starting to annoy me, Kimmy. He inspects her, no
Let's get
response.
some air. This one's far gone.
He shakes his head silently as he turns to leave. Man, this idea that... I don't know, that we're in some sort of otherworldly place, right? You know, whether we're in purgatory or we're in heaven or hell or something like that. Or we're on a world that's, you know, connected to some sort of black hole or something more scientific like that. It's fascinating. It's reminding me of a quote. It's from a book, but it's also in a Max Richter song. I'm just trying to remember it accurately because it's one of my favourite quotes that I remember hearing when I was maybe 17. It's let's see if I can get this first try. Maybe, in some distant place, everyone is already quietly lost. Or at least, there exists a silent place where everyone can disappear, melded together in a single overlapping figure. And as we live our lives, I've forgotten a bit of the rest of the quote. No! Oh. I'll remember it. Right, I'm going to just go and talk to Ceiling to see if he's got any clothes that might benefit us with this check on the wheels, because I'm tempted to just try and level up so that we have another shot at getting that right. Right, what did you have for sale, Ceiling?
The shine on these sunglasses.
Yes.
Stylish shades, huh? They'd be even more stylish if you paid for them with net worth. Go over and ask him.
Damn it. I think we took something from this one.
Keep coming.
Yeah.
If he really wants to save the economy, he'd let you pay with net worth. Go over and ask him if you can.
Let's find something worth salvaging.
Something cold grazes your hand. Synthetic and sleek. A windbreaker. Surf, it says, but also wind, summer, 100% waterproof, and sport. All in different typefaces.
Good choice, officer. Mega sporty. And it's only $4.50 for you, sir.
Wait, is composure what we want for this? It is. Oh. Oh. We got to get it then, right? It's expensive, but composure is what we... No, it's not. It's visual calculus. Composure would be nice, though. Crap, I got really excited then. Composure was what we needed to speak to the smoking fellow with the turquoise earring. Damn. Yeah, let's get it. A bit more composure.
Gotta prepare for springtime, right?
Yes. What are we going to lose off this? Conceptualization. Oh, yes. Straight out the 90s. Shivers. Oh, who cares? And the shoebox.
The speakers below.
Yes.
You should go over and ask him about paying for those sneakers with your net worth.
Alright, and we picked up this thought, which anything to do with the pale will be happening, but it's -1 to visual calculus. So we need to wait. Okay. At the edge of the map, the landmass begins to disintegrate into pure trigonometry. The ocean melts, becoming a tangle of sines and cosines. The mountain range turns into a sharp, angled azimuth. Azimuth? The green rain shadow dithers, like music turning into a waveform, and then vanishes. This is the end, a half-remembered textbook from your childhood, a porch collapsing on the edge of the Isola. A transition from reality to pale. A single vector shoots out like a rocket. It's the motorway south, splintering off from the known pale. To where? Where does it go? We are investigating this as soon as possible, dude. Right. Yeah, I feel like it'd be nice to have another point. So I'm just trying to think how we could gain some XP. So we've got the quest with that key, so we'll go and do that as well. I can return whatever these giant metal ball things are to the fellow here. I'm still trying to remember the rest of that quote. I always forget a little portion in the middle. I'll try and remember it.
Officer. God damn it. Pull yourself together, René. What do you want?
Oh, this is René. I found your guard booth.
Yes. The Debardeurs Union pays me to stand vigil during the nights. Not out of any political allegiance, mind you.
Fair enough.
I'm an old man. Don't sleep more than a few hours every night anyway, and money is tight.
He adds with a slight sigh.
He feels like he has to justify himself for some reason.
You must have seen something on the night of the murder. Your booth looks right into the yard. I saw a picture in there. You were in it. You looked happy. Who's the girl?
She is nobody. This is none of your concern, and I refuse to discuss my private affairs with the RCM.
Alright. His features stiffen, and he gets a cold look.
The lady is Jeanne-Marie Beaulieu, and she sure as hell wasn't a nobody.
You must have seen something on the night of the murder. Your booth looks right into the yard.
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, I wasn't working that night. been on a 2-week leave since last Monday.
So who was working your shift?
No one. The boss has been unmanned since last Monday. There's no other guard. It's just me.
He looks suddenly very old and tired.
No one has been guarding the container yard since last Monday.
Yes. It's not actually an issue. I mean...
He nods before hesitantly continuing.
Look, officers. The container yard doesn't actually need a guardsman. Never had one before, René. Monsieur Claire had that booth built specially for him. It's mostly decorative.
Decorative?
The possibility of someone being in there is enough to discourage any ill-minded individuals.
He tries to argue.
Evrard created this job for René because he knows the Royal Carabiniers' pension of honor and PTSD isn't something a man can live off. A decorated Kingsman collecting tear reflects bad on the whole neighborhood. His words.
Everett gets it. Big guys looking after the small and everyone's working together. I love it. Such dependency only weakens a man further. Do or die, there is no middle ground. René is but one man. We need a program. Get all the elderly back in the job market. Keep folks motivated. René should rent out his services, invest the profit, get few more guys, expand and repeat. Wage work is a dead end. There's absolutely nothing wrong with tear collecting. It's my side thing too. Proudly hold out the tear bag. I don't think that Everett gets it. And I don't love it. There must be a reason for it. I mean, the elderly shouldn't necessarily have to work, right? He's not going to like it if we compare ourselves to him because he doesn't like the RCM. I kind of want to be a bit harsh towards him because he's a bit prickly. This is definitely a fascist response though, right? It does sound a bit... does sound a little bit pathetic in a way, the fact that he's just made up a job that doesn't need to exist. Such dependency only weakens a man.
It's not charity.
It is, mate.
Not to me.
There's a grimace of pain on the old soldier's face. Looks like he wants to add something but can't find the words. Finally, his eyes light up and he says,
Up there, I give it all I got. I earned my keep. But you're right, officer. There is no middle ground. It's do or die.
He looks toward the guard booth and sighs.
Something about him has changed. He's calmer somehow.
Got it.
Yes. Like I said, it would be up anyway. So might as well keep an eye out. It keeps my senses sharp.
I found your boule.
What is this? Are you mocking us? This isn't for pétanque.
Damn it! The old veteran stares at the shot put ball in silence, then speaks in a reserved voice.
Now. No need to get angry again, René. I'm sure the officer tried his best. It's not like there's a bull kiosk here in Martinez.
There's not going to be an alternative. I suggest taking it.
That's how it is, huh? Fine. I guess you did attempt to right your hooliganism. Consider it forgiven.
Thank you, René. Did you ever use artillery fire against the communards?
Sadly, no. It was the foreigners who brought them to their knees. We fought valiantly. Too valiantly. So valiantly we got licked.
He adds, squeezing a boule in his fist.
Should have fought dirty, like they did with their suicide sex cult propaganda and mad anarchist women strapped to shrapnel bombs. We didn't though, and we lacked caliber. God bless him, but the suzerain's cannons simply weren't big enough.
Why shell them here in Martinez? They should have chosen a place away from people and buildings. Why shell them here in Martinez?
Because this place is a damn beachhead. And to soften the commies up first.
He says, pointing to the bay. The beachhead?
Yes. The military coordinated amphibious landing to take back Revachol.
He finds your lack of historic knowledge troubling, a sign of mental deterioration in the preceding generations.
Martinez was used as one of the 3 footholds in Revachol during Operation Deathblow in 08. The other 2 are off in Stella Maris and the Delta.
He points to the northeast. Deathblow. Sounds grim. Nod thoughtfully and turn to look northeast. Yep.
This here is Blood Ground, where Coalition boots first made landfall and cleaned those rabid dogs out. Most likely, we're playing pétanque on their mangled corpses.
Blood ground. You got old René going there. Like he isn't hungry enough already.
Is that why everything is so bombed out? Ah, that explains all the war damage.
Damn right, son. They laid the fire of hell on this city before they stormed it. And it worked, too.
There's a strange gleam in his eyes.
The rest of the city got cleaned up, but Martinez they keep as a monument. And now the Union Socialists are practically running the place.
Well, it's your own damn fault. You, we, the coalition, Revachol, whoever you want to blame, never finished the job. Officially, the party never surrendered. Of course they still hold influence.
You don't even begin to truly understand the players on the table, let alone the specific circumstances surrounding the... What do you think?
He stops mid-sentence and turns to you.
Thinking men have opinions on these things. Present one.
That's how it should be. Soft socialists paving the way for the hard-working class to take over. Foreign powers cleaned up our mess. And now they rule us. Shake your head in shame. This coalition seems quite capable, actually. Commies just don't understand how money works. Nothing. I don't think, I just do. Yeah, foreign powers cleaned up our mess. And now they rule us.
I'm sorry it had to be them. After 8 years of fighting those hyenas, boiling cats for food and drinking piss in the mountains,
he looks down at his boots.
I would have preferred if the Right Honorable King Guillaume returned through Revachol, or even if that damn clan Frissel had risen from the grave and led us. Sadly, that was not the case.
This royal failure weighs heavily on him.
Instead, all that is just, holy, and beautiful in the world was wiped away, and now it's neon signs with toothpaste ads everywhere. Foreign influence peddling garbage and stupid music on the radio.
He sighs.
This is just what the commies wanted. This was their plan all along. This is what they wanted to replace the role of the suzerain with.
And who's Frissel?
Damn Frissel. He was the king we couldn't protect. The Carabineers failed him, and the crown. He died in the hands of the Hyperlay, in a very public execution.
The old veteran falls silent and massages his chest.
He slouches as he says that. It makes him smaller, admitting they left the king to the mob.
You mentioned Guillaume.
A true king in both blood and mind led Revachol before Frissel. He would have been better, but the damn commies drove him into exile.
What exactly is a suzerain?
The suzerain is the king! Has everyone forgotten already?
He then slowly nods and says to himself,
Soon they will forget everything. Him too. Then he chooses anger over melancholy.
Guess he feels like his generation's being forgotten and what they fought for has been forgotten as well.
It's no use talking to you. You were still in Daddy's balls when it happened. When we took our last stand against the Filth and rode the cavalry straight into gunfire.
Is there anything you can tell me about this old rifle?
It's a Bell McGrave, 4.46 caliber, breech loading, Revachol made. Good weapon, accurate and reliable.
His moves are quick and precise as he first checks the weapon, then aims it at the sea. This man knows firearms intimately.
This one's inoperable. The bolt spring is missing and the mechanism is jammed shut. Still a beauty. Where did you find her?
He adds, handing back the rifle. In the basement there, point at the bookshop. Sorry, I can't divulge that information. What do you mean find? This is my rifle. I always have it with me. Yeah, I found it in the basement.
I'm not surprised. There are probably lots of forgotten wartime weapons lying around here. Back in the day, everyone had something stashed away. As for the rifle, I don't know what else to tell you. These BM-446s are an antique. No one uses them anymore. The ammunition is impossible to find.
Right, fair enough. Okay, we've got more composure from our new jacket. 72, hit me!
As Rene turns from you to his partner and back, the medals on his chest rattle and glare. He keeps his spine straight and his ribcage lifted, displaying them proudly.
How many medals have you got there, sir?
2. The larger one is shaped like a cross, while the smaller medal resembles the sun.
Let's look at the cross.
A crowned head in front of 2 crossed rifles. The medal hangs from a blue striped triangle.
And the sun?
A small blue star inside an orange sun. It has the word Valiance written below.
The medals. What did you get them for?
For bravery.
He interjects.
It's a conflicted topic for the old veteran. There must have been a number of controversial episodes in his service days.
That's what I would have thought.
I'm sure. But I know this uniform's reputation. You are also wondering if I got this for raping women or killing babies.
No, I really wasn't. I'm just asking. So did you? I know the reputation of anything. I don't know the reputation of anything. Don't even recognize the war. Sounds controversial. Let's talk about something else. I really wasn't thinking that, mate.
Honor is everything to me.
He says with grim finality.
Whoa. Sounds like you're about to open the gates of conversation. This man will literally talk your ear off if you let him wander off to memory lane.
That's fine with me. So what did you get the medals for, mate?
For doing my duty in the heat of battle. For looking my mortality in the eye. When men like Gaston here hid in the bushes and shat themselves.
You're supposed to be friends. Don't talk about your friend like that.
He saved some muddy princeling who foolishly strolled into the front line in his gown of velvet and gold.
Princeling?
It was on the first months of the revolution here in Revachol. Unrest was spreading like wildfire. Marauders had taken most of the Couronne and were getting really ambitious. King Frisel thought he could end it all in one decisive strike. Sent his cousin, Drisson, to put an end to the unrest.
The old carabiner runs his fingers over the larger medal.
Alas, the young Drisson was all piss and no vinegar, wearing a tunic of purple velvet and cockatiel feathers to battle. Even his rifle was gold-plated, shone from 5 clicks away. Can you imagine the asininity?
Purple velvet tunic. That isn't exactly camo.
No, it's not, Kimmy. Thanks for that.
To keep the long and bloody story short, Drisson marched us against the partisans in Couronne. And when I say marched, I mean made us walk into captured enemy territory, single file, like toy soldiers, while he rode in front on his giant red stallion. The rebels were smart. They let us come real close before opening fire. Suffice to say, it was carnage.
Bastards.
I got shot in the left shoulder and went down. Just a flesh wound. But just as I turned over, the prince fell into the mud next to me. He was missing his lower jaw. Then his horse, driven mad by the noise and smell of gunpowder, stepped on my leg and shattered my knee.
He pats his right thigh.
Hang on to the story. Veterans get sentimental after such retellings. This might yield something useful.
Hang on to the story. Okay. Then what did you do?
I grabbed my sidearm and shot the beast in the head. Then everything went black.
Capitaine Arnoux, le fléau des chevaux.
When I came to, it was all over. It was just me and Jolas Tresson, gurgling in the blood-soaked mud right next to me.
He continues, ignoring his companion.
The Dink had taken numerous flesh wounds and lost a lot of blood. But despite missing his jaw, he seemed hesitant to die. Tougher than he looked, that one.
That's no dink, that's a fighter. I'd give up. Can't imagine living without my jaw. This had never happened to Johnny Lawjaw. Point to your mouth, my jaw's tight. I've been through worse. Yeah, that's no dink, that's a fighter.
So I grabbed the Dink and started crawling. Kept going until the 59th Cavalry picked us up. Through some miracle, we both survived. And the jailless freak convinced Frissel to give me a medal for not leaving him to die in his own blood, piss and shit. He was the commanding officer and I was on duty, just doing my job. Shouldn't hand out medals for that. 13 months later, I received the Sun for distinguished service. It's not worth mentioning.
Dude, give yourself some sort of credit, Jesus. I mean, I understand a soldier has to be a soldier and all that, but...
You sense he's downplaying it. He did a lot more than his duty.
Yeah.
More than anyone's duty. It's in his spine, in his billowing breasts, and untarnished self-worth.
Sounds like you're being modest, Rene.
The old carabinier stands quietly like a statue, his features motionless.
What Monseigneur Modesty is not telling you is that he crawled over 7 kilometers before the cavalrymen found him and Drizant.
Wow.
2 days later that was. And that even while crawling with a mangled half-dead prince on his back, he still managed to murder 3 rebels on his way.
Is that pride in his voice? It's deep down, but maybe even unbeknownst to the man himself, it's there.
Hold on. You're just a little bit proud of Rene's heroics, aren't you? Quite impressive. It's men like Rene who made Revachol great once. I'm not impressed. All those heroics, and where's he now? No, you got to play to win. Look after you first. Hold on. You're just a little proud of Rene's heroics, aren't you?
Sorry, officer, but you're reading me all wrong. I'm a man of peace, and these kinds of bloody heroics are only impressive to men like Rene himself.
Yeah,
Certainly
right.
not to me. How did you find the story to be, officer?
Quite impressive. It's men like Rene who made Revachol great at one time.
Maybe, but also bear in mind, officer. They don't end this out for anyone with a service record.
He points to the sun-shaped medal on Rene's chest.
Oh no, you have to get shot. Repeatedly. And you need to get your hands bloody too. Really, really bloody.
He nods eagerly. Well, they were at war, dude.
Do not speak of what you know nothing about, Poltroon. Duty is something you will never understand.
He slams the heel of his boot in the ground. Thanks for the story, Rene.
Bah! There were many such stories in those days. Many such men too. True Revacholians. Men with backbone.
His gaze wanders over the bay.
Oh yes, Rene, yes. Men were bigger, girls were prettier, and everyone wore the fascia. Lord, please bring those days back, if you can.
I'm not getting into this with you again. Officer, was there anything else?
He's not necessarily saying that it... Well, yeah. I guess he's just got a contempt for what everything's turned into, and but I guess everyone has a bit of a wistful memory of their past, right? And the kind of desire for it to be like that again.
You should try to come up with a heroic story of your own. Impress this old soldier.
-2 for throwing the ball in the sea. We need to up our drama for that.
It's clear you like the hard stuff, Brota.
Oh no. What is my lower testing going on about?
Lower intestine? The term is metabolic and circulatory system.
The hard stuff?
Fascism, Brota.
Yeah, I knew I was going to get that for... Oh, what, just for supporting him? I don't know. What is fascism, though?
Many things, but it's mostly about trusting your gut. Who does your gut tell you is the source of Revachol's problems?
Now, I understand I opted out on the communist thought, but now I understand that even if I don't agree with it, it's best just to go along with the thought so that we can have it as a research option later. So, who does your gut tell you is the source of Revachol's problems? Foreigners, financiers, leftist academians, or liberals? I thought you were my circulatory system.
Quit stalling, Bruta. We're talking about the weakest, worst, most insane thing. The weak link.
Financiers.
Yes, them. But also, Wermen.
Wermen?
Wermen. Men of Wer. You don't like them. They're insane. Their idiocy needs to be scrubbed off this world with rubbing alcohol. Wu men need to go back to the fucking kitchen. That's what fascism boils down to. The rest is also important. But the main thing is that Wu men need to know their place.
What the hell? Is this some sort of stomach ulcer?
Stomach truth. You're having a stomach truth.
Why?
Because you've said the hard things that others won't say. The good things, you've said them many times.
Fascism sounds so bad though. What if we called it something else, like traditionalism?
Okay, yes, let's call it that. Good thinking.
I mean, that is true though. It does come in, fascism in various eras or whatever comes in many different guises, right? Traditionalism, various forms of nationalism. Nationalism isn't explicitly bad, but in certain circumstances, that kind of, you know, that flag waving kind of nationalism becomes very, just territorial's the wrong word, but yeah, that's what it kind of becomes. Do you know what I mean? It becomes very like defensive almost. Okay, Stomach, I've made up my mind about fascism.
You're going to keep your views, right? Keep your views, Brota.
I'll keep my views for the glory of the Revacholian nation, right? I wouldn't usually, but just we can get the thought by doing this, right?
For the nation, smart. Best not to mention the women too often. That's why you're the head and I am the stomach.
No, fascism is about industry and politics and nationhood, not vermin. I'm absolutely okay with women. Yeah.
Of course you are, Bruta. Of course. A wink-shaped growl sounds from your ass.
Alright, fine. Alright guys, episode's getting a bit long, we'll have to leave it there. We'll head to the locked apartment over there in the next episode, and then I'll probably try and... Oh, we could talk to the lady from the bookstore as well, Placence, before we examine these tracks, because I'd like to have some more experience. We're only 15 off from a level up, so then we'll be able to put another point and do the skill check twice if we fail it. So we'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. Leave me a like if you did, and just remember, everybody, never trust an uncrate. See you back in Revachol.